Despite really tricky driving conditions, some people could not resist taking advantage of all the fresh snow in Tahoe this Martin Luther King holiday weekend, even though ABC7 meteorologists warned the drive should be avoided at all costs. Our Drew Tuma even tweeted this, saying, if you can't get up there by 1 p.m. Friday, do not travel there due to the heavy snow ahead. But that's just what our media partner, the San Francisco Standard's director of multimedia content, tried to do. She's learned a lot from her harrowing experience, and Sophie Bierman is here to offer both a cautionary tale and great tips that, Sophie, I honestly hadn't thought of. But, wow. Okay, so first of all, let me just say, Sophie, glad you made it back to tell the tale. Did you know it was going to be dangerous?
Thanks, Kristen, for having me. So, yes, starting Thursday, well before I had a plan to go to Tahoe with a bunch of friends. We had a cabin booked. We were looking forward to the long weekend. Starting on Thursday, of course, we started, seeing in the news from the National Weather Service that, a storm was coming in and that it would be a little bit dicey. And like you said, that they were recommending, if you couldn't get to Tahoe after, before 1 o'clock on Friday, to not go. Unfortunately, with all of our work schedules, I knew that wasn't going to happen for us. We would have to leave a little bit later. And so, following everything on Twitter, knowing it would be a little bit dicey, but also knowing that so many people like us were sort of making this calculated risk. We wanted to make sure that we were set up for success. If we did try to go, had a contingency plan, which we ended up needing to use. And so we did sort of embark on this journey on Friday.
Okay, I definitely want your tips later. But first, I want to show some video of your drive, and you can tell us about it. Like, when did you start? Where did it get dicey? What did you see along the way? Any near accidents? Walk us through it.
Yeah, so essentially to get to Tahoe, there's kind of two ways you got to go through a storm, I-80 or I-50. We were going to North Tahoe area, so I-80 was, where we had to go. It means going over Donner Summit. That's over 7,200 feet of elevation. So when it's snowy, it's snowy. Things started getting dicey a little bit before that, and at a certain point, I-80 actually closed. We saw that happen on Twitter. We knew it might happen, and so we'd already talked about a hotel that we could stay in Auburn, which is quite a ways, many hours actually before, consider you're going 20 miles per hour at that point. So we stayed the night. Luckily, we had that plan. We knew it might happen, but it was definitely coming down hard at that point.
Okay, wait. So when did you leave, and what time did you get there? This was Saturday.
So
right?
we left. So you're really pulling it out of me, Kristen. We left pretty late on Friday. I think we left around 7. And I believe that we were seeing on Twitter that Donner Pass was closed around 11 p.m. And so we had to backtrack just a little bit. We'd already passed, Auburn and Colfax. We had to backtrack, check into that hotel. And then we woke up at 5:30. Checked Twitter, the pass was open, I-80 was again, functioning. There was daylight at that point, or it was coming on, and we were able to make it safely over at a really slow speed.
I'm glad you did not get into an accident, although I know many people did because we showed the video. But in terms of lessons learned, you've got some. Well, look, we all know you should have things like ice scrapers and chains for such a drive, but if you find yourself stuck, you had some good ideas for what to do before digging yourself out.
Yeah, this is a really good tip. So if your wheels are just spinning, you're stuck in the snow, you can take out those floor mats that are at your feet and put those under the wheels and then, reverse over that. That will give you a lot of traction and help you get out of that, particular sticky situation.
You said something about like getting all the snow off the hood first too, right?
Yes, definitely. We were we had 3 feet of snow this weekend. So every morning we were waking up to, just a ton of snow. You have to wipe that off. Otherwise, if you brake suddenly, all of that can fall onto your windshield, completely, get rid of visibility, and of course, put yourself at risk and other drivers. So you have to wipe all that off.
Okay. Also, don't automatically trust and follow Google Maps. Why?
Yeah, this is a really good one too. Google Maps at this point just does not have the best advice for you. It thinks it's going to take a lot less time than it will. It also might try to reroute you to avoid traffic. Those roads will likely be closed or unplowed and even dicier than I-80 or I-50. So just stick to those 2 routes. If they're closed, obviously turn around, but those are really the only ways to Tahoe in winter driving conditions.
Okay, and finally, there's some alternatives if you're desperate to get up there but don't want to make the drive yourself.
Yeah, there's a couple options. Sports Basement offers a really cushy bus experience for $95 round trip, I believe it is, even including snacks. Of course, this weekend they were not running, so you need to check, when they feel comfortable going over. And there's a couple others as well. So you can definitely get to Tahoe, even if you don't have the right car, you don't want to drive, there are ways to get there.
Finally, a couple yes or no's for you. Did you have a good time?
I did have a good time. I'm somewhat of a beginner intermediate skier, so the powder was a lot, but I learned a lot, took a lot of tumbles, and we had fun.
And would you do it again?
Maybe.
All right, I'll take that. Sophie, great information. I'm glad you had a good time, and ultimately it was a safe journey, if a little scary.